All right, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yosef. I'm going to come back to you with this quick video right here about Juneteenth. Just a few days ago, the president signed a bill that made Juneteenth a federal holiday moving forward on June the 19th. All right, and yesterday there were festivals, parades going on across the country in remembrance of what happened in June 19th. All right, so this day was celebrated. It goes back to the 1800s, all right, in Galveston, Texas. All right, we see that the Emancipation Proclamation was signed a couple years earlier than that, but slavery did not end. And I got news for you. Let's take a look right now. You're still in slavery, all right? If you're a so-called melanated man or woman, brown or black, whatever you want to call yourself, you're still in slavery, but they did, do it in a different way. And there's a movie out online, all right? You can take a look at it on YouTube, Netflix, type it in. It's called The 13th Amendment, all right? You can see that slavery around this time of Juneteenth in the 1800s, all it did was transition from the cotton fields to the prison houses. All right, those slaves that, were supposedly free, all right, they enacted laws to arrest them on very minute jaywalking, traffic violations, all kind of things like that back in those days that put them right in prison and made them slaves all over again. All right, so slavery never ended, just to let you know that. But going back to the Juneteenth celebration and festival, all right, I went to an event yesterday where it was a festival, thousands and thousands of people outside, and I went there even though it was my Sabbath day, and typically I don't go to functions on the Sabbath outside of resting in my home or going out and being with some other like-minded believers, getting into this word right here. All right, but I felt prompted. I prayed about it. I saw it was an opportunity to go out and plant a lot of seeds and try to bring a lot of people closer to the Most High. Was able to meet some real, genuine, sincere people there. Was able to make some good connections. I believe some doors are going to definitely be open from that. Met a sister there that's in the walk. All right, and some more beautiful things that happened. Too much more for me to explain this video, and I don't probably need to. But back to the June 19th thing, though. All right, people have been talking about what does this mean? All right, are we getting closer to getting reparations from the government, from the years of slavery, our ancestors, the ones that picked cotton, going back to the 400-year prophecy in the book of Genesis, chapter 15, it said you will be slaves, you will serve in that land for 400 years. And after that, you will come out with great substance. Well, they were actually talking about that yesterday at the Juneteenth festival parade. They were not holding back. They was talking about how we were slaves in this land for 400 years. All right, and so people are expecting reparations. People are expecting a payment. All right, and they say that the so-called black community is $1 trillion economy all by itself. All right, so when the bill got passed, that's kind of what went across my mind, was that this is another holiday to be able to gather in the so-called black people's financial resources. All right, our people on this day, they're gonna go out and buy African shirts. They're gonna be buying shirts that got black power on them. They're gonna be buying all kind of conscious shirts, all kind of things that deal with the so-called black community. All right, so it's another day of profit, but it's one more thing to consider. I was talking to a brother earlier, and he brought out a real good point. This day, and some people will say, well, maybe this is the Most High making them do this. But when you think about this as well, when the children of the other nations, when they start to ask questions, what is Juneteenth about? This is going to be forcing, parents of the Gentile nations, these other nations that are not, melanated, so-called, black or African American or brown skinned people, it's going to be causing them. They're going to be asking questions to their parents. It's going to cause their parents to have to tell their children about the enslaved African Americans. All right, we know that African American is a byword. All right, it's not your original name. It's not your nationality. It's two different consonants that are put together to describe a different group of people who they don't want you to really know what your identity really is. All right. Now, if you get into these scriptures right here, all right, you will have a good idea, a good understanding of who you possibly can be. All right. But besides the point, June 19th, festivals going on, parades. I mean, it was good to see so many of our people out at one time in one place. All right. And yes, a lot of our brothers and sisters, they may not know who they are. They may not know that they're supposed to keep the righteous laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures. All right. But that's why there are times where you and I have to get out here into these events. We have to go out here. We can't just be comfortable sitting in our dwellings on the Sabbath day. If they have these events like this on the Sabbath, we got to get out there to the people. I'm so glad that the Most High allowed me to get out there. Because I believe some doors are going to open up from these encounters yesterday that will propel and change even the trajectory of the rest of my life moving forward. All right, but with that said, you know, I'll be interested to see and what you all have to say about this Juneteenth festival. You know, watch that movie called The 13th Amendment. I'm telling you, it's going to make you upset. I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front, if you don't want to be angry about it. You know, you probably don't need to watch it, but if you watch that video, it's going to show you that slavery never ended. They even got Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton on there. They're saying we messed up, we made a mistake, and what we did to you all. All right, they're kind of giving us a little. It don't really seem like a sincere apology, but they are saying that they made a mistake. All right, and you will see that you're a slave. You're still a slave in this country. Let's go to Proverbs 22 real quick. All right, just to let you know, because some of you got, you know, $200,000, $300,000 houses, $400,000 houses. You say, I'm not a slave. I'm not in captivity. All right, you still are a slave. I'm here to tell you, you are being controlled with an invincible cord. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse number 6 or number 7. It said, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. How many of you out there are servant to the lenders? How many of you out there, so-called black people, are still in slavery? How many of you are still in debt? DEBT, doing everything but trusting the Most High. How many of you are still slaves? You still are a part of the slave system. But this slavery right here is not just limited to the so-called African American or the blacks. All right, this slavery it entails everyone, because 90% of our people are in debt. All right, so I know some people would say, well, yeah, that's just not geared towards African Americans. But the fact of what I'm trying to tell you is I'm trying to wake up and bring some awareness to the so-called African American out there that you still are slaves in this society. You're in captivity. All right. Individuals, whether you believe in the transatlantic slave trade, that, you know, you were brought over here from the continent of Africa, or if you go by the theory or the doctrine that we were already here. If we were brought over by Africa, you know, then that means that we were brought over on ships and that we were slaves brought to these places to serve. But if you believe the other way, all right, that this was our land, all right, you go by the copper-colored people, that we were already here, we were natives to this land, all right, and these people came and took over our land, then we still are slaves in it. Either way you want to look at it, whether you say we came from Africa or we were already here, whichever way it go, our people got colonized, we got put into slavery and got subjugated by these Gentile European nations that came over here. All right, so just to share with you just a little tidbit of history about June 19th. All right, it's up to you if you want to go out there and buy the t-shirts and buy the gear and buy the clothes and support it. All right, you got different groups of people that are pushing for Black Power, Black Lives Matter, the conscious movement, you know, Israelites, Hebrew Israelites. You know, you got all kind of different black, so-called black groups that are out there on these days. All right, it is a good chance to get out there and wake up the people. And they were, the people that was at the one I was in Tennessee yesterday, they were crying loud. They were speaking boldly. And one person, he talked about how, you know, Joseph was a symbolization of the so-called black man. When you look at how he came, how he went through prison, went through the struggle, and then came out on top at the end. And that's what many of our brothers and sisters are, you know, trusting in and believing in this time that we're in, is that the reparations is going to come and that we are going to come out in the end. 400 years is up, according to most people that go by the 400-year doctrine. It was up in 2019, 2020 last year, and now it's time for them to pay up. So it's up to you if you're going to look towards those reparations or not. I'm not personally sitting here trying to bank on those reparations. I'm going to keep abiding in my labor, trusting in the Most High. And if that prophecy is what it is, and that's what he was truly saying in Genesis chapter 15, then those of us in this generation, or a remote generation that's to come, will receive those reparations, and the Most High will bring us or them into the land where they are to possess. So I just want to share this with you about the June 19th, also just to give you just a little understanding about the scripture, about the prophecy in Genesis chapter 15. All right, with that said, I pray the Most High be with each and every single one of you. Until the next time we meet again, I say, Shalom, Shalom, Yah Barah.